So you saw the title of this video. Before we go into what this video is actually about, I think it would make sense to clarify what I even mean with having a stick up your ass, if it's not obvious already. To me, it's somebody who is inauthentic, and with inauthentic, I do not mean that they are betraying themselves. I mean that they are just obviously showing a version of themselves where you already know that it's not them. It's pure performance. It's pure like impress everybody else but themselves. Now that we got that off the table, a lot of people fit into this archetype. Maybe you do as well. I definitely was part of that archetype in my past. Maybe some people think I still am. I hope not. This leads to a deeper psychological issue, which in my opinion is one of the biggest reasons why so many of us have failed to be loved properly by others, but also by ourselves. And I'll explain to you exactly why. You see, we all have this desire to be loved, to be validated by other people, because it helps us move forwards. It gives us positive feedback. It gives us a sense of meaning. But there's one big issue here. People will only love you for what you show of yourself, not for who you are. And this may seem so hard for you to now understand. It may not make sense to you at all, but see, what's going on in your head and what other people are seeing in reality, those are two completely different things. We often have these moments where we wonder why nobody is there for us. And often, right, you have to look at what the people are appreciating or loving you for. What do you show of yourself? Because that's with a lot of people nowadays, probably also with you, there's often a huge discrepancy between here and what other people see. We're all so scared of being hurt, of being judged, but I can tell you one thing. The more you hide, the less you confide. What I'm trying to say with this is, the more you hide your true self out of the fear of being hurt, judged, or taken advantage of, those are genuine fears. They are justified. Like, everybody has them. You can't tell me you don't have them. The less you give other people the ability to truly understand who you are, right? You spare yourself some of the pain, but you then deny full transparency as well. And that's the problem that a lot of us face. We do not want to open up too much because we are scared that we will be taken advantage of or ridiculed, but at the same time we get angry when we don't, because when shit hits the fan and we cannot validate ourselves, nobody else is there to validate us or to support us. It's this paradox, or this very difficult, hypocritical situation, you could say, that's just destroying so many of us from the inside. You see, it's very similar to risk and reward in finance. If you hold bonds, for example, they give you a steady rate, 5% a year, let's say. They're not risky, but the return is also not that great. Now compare that to stocks, where you maybe make 10 to 15% and have the risk of losing, for example, 5% of your money because the stock market just has some drawdown or a crash. Who knows? You can go even one step further into commodities or into cryptocurrencies where you make hundreds of percents, but also face the risk of losing half of your money. And it's the same thing with exposing yourself to other people, right? The more risk you put in, the greater the chances of you being fucked over by other people and making fun of, hurt, and so on. But if you don't, well, then it's like holding bonds. You put in no risk, but the return that you get within your own life is barely noticeable. If you have no important people around you, no influential, supportive people around you, you're not going to move anywhere in life. I think that a big part of this comes from this performance pressure that the majority of us now have, right? When we meet people, if it's in networking events or social events, we tend to show our performative self, so the polished version of us. We hide the bits that are kind of still wrong within us and hope that other people won't notice them, because, oh no, then we wouldn't make the best first impression. And although this makes sense, right, you always want to make a good first impression, I think we could have a culture shift to fix this, but I'll go more into that later. With this kind of setup, we make it very hard for ourselves to be at service for the other person. How can you help another person when everything in their life is going right? If they give you the impression that they've got everything figured out, even though they haven't, you just don't know that yet, how the hell will you see a need in trying to help them? And that's how it's also going to be for other people who you introduce yourself to. And then we wonder why it feels so hard to open up, why nobody's there for us, why the life that we're trying to live, the impression that we're trying to give to other people, ends up backfiring. Man, it's so fucking obvious. So what's the solution? Well, it's pretty damn difficult if we're honest, but if we manage to do small steps and slowly establish a change in our culture where we feel more open to talk about the things we are not so proud about, especially when meeting new people. That would give us so much more surface area to resonate on. So, quite frankly, it's time to take the stick out of your ass and be honest. Show yourself. And if people don't like you for it, okay. Like, I find this so funny, but people are so scared of being judged by others. But if you, for example, have your kind of flaws, like every fucking human does, and you are so scared of showing them, imagine that dynamic where you always have to hide something from yourself. Yeah, in some environments, of course, it's not possible, right? If you are in the traditional workspace, you don't share deep stuff with your boss. Of course not. It's just not important. You leave your private shit at home. But at the same time, I think that's exactly the problem, right? You spend the majority of your time, let's say, in a working environment, and then you're not even allowed to be honest with yourself there. You just have to put on this mask. You can't tell me that that has negative psychological effects on one. You see, I know a lot of people who have either written or said to me that they struggle with being loved, understood, validated by others. They're doomed. They will never find anybody. And then I ask them, what do you show of yourself? If you were somebody who watched how you put yourself out there in front of others, would you notice all the things that perhaps you right now notice within yourself? Would you be able to understand yourself as much as you understand yourself when you're in your head? Probably not. This all ties back to the transparency factor. What I then also tell these people is that the individuals that they are meeting are strangers. It's not like they are their parents. It's not like they can read every single small facial expression or gesture from them. It's not like you just look a certain way and they read your mind, right? No, it's not how that works. You have to actually communicate it. You have to really show it. So many people are focused on themselves. They don't even think about you, and like, they don't care about reading you. So especially in those kind of settings, you have to really put in your effort to show what's going on with you. So if you've been somebody until now who's had a stick up their ass, who's kind of been hiding themselves because it's just not what they've been told to do, believe me, you're not gonna get anything out of it. You've probably realized that until now, but you're still not changing because you really don't know what else to do. Well, I hope this video helps you a little bit. The stuff that I'm telling you right now has helped me a lot. Sometimes you just don't have to give a fuck, right? Every good communicator doesn't give a fuck, essentially. They say what they say. Of course, they are aware of the risk of some of their words. They make sure that they don't like insult people and don't say like things that would immediately cancel them, but you get the point. You have to be ready to expose yourself and eat shit for it. It's like with finance, right? If you want to have a good return that changes your life, you also have to take on a certain amount of risk. You see, that's the thing. If something was easy, everybody would be able to do it. And this is just a thing that's pretty hard, and that's why so many people are struggling with it. But at least now you know what you can do. And yeah, I wish you a good evening or good day whenever you're watching this. Keep chasing your dreams, never compare yourself to other people, and we'll see each other soon. Peace.